Alright, what's up guys? NinjaDeathStrike here, bringing you another Pokemon TCGO match. I will be using my Terrakion and Friends deck again, that I've named Bulldozer. And this match is a little bit better than the last one I posted, where Mewtwo just forced his way through everything. I'm not real clear on it though, except that apparently I'm going to mulligan a whole bunch, and my opponent played incredibly slowly. Just by opening the project, I see cuts everywhere, which means I cut stuff out. So keep an eye on the game clock. Wow, that's like, what, 4 mulligans in a row? There we go. Finally get a card to start with. At least I get to start with Terrakion EX, who's my preferred starter. I'm not going to bench the other Terrakion yet, because that'd be bad. Super catcher bait. And hopefully I go first, because if I can go first, I can actually nullify all of those mulligans and get my opponent back down to a reasonable hand size. If I go second, not so much. So I go second. Awesome. That's good. And it looks like I'm playing an Eels variant. He leads Mewtwo, which actually is not that bad of a lead, especially against this deck. Just being able to put on that early pressure is really strong, and he's also able to Ultra Ball, get away 2 Lightning Energy, which isn't surprising since I gave him 4 or 5 cards. And he gets a Raikou EX, which I don't know why he got that so early. There's really no need for it yet. And I obviously play a fighting deck, so I'm going to be able to hit it for weakness. I don't want to do anything with this hand but end. I just want an energy. I could have maybe benched the other Terrakion. Wouldn't have been a bad idea, but I'm fairly certain I'll be able to get another one when it's time. So I just go ahead and end. I do get my energy, which is good, but my deck has no turn 1. And so here he's going to attach double colorless energy to Mewtwo and X-Ball me for 60, which is going to hurt pretty bad. It is going to make it pretty hard for him to knock me out next turn, though. He'll need to do 120. So if I attach an energy, it wouldn't be quite enough for him to knock me out. But I get end and actually draw into a hand that I like a whole lot. I have a Boufflant, I have a DCE, and I have an energy switch. So this is going to allow me to pull off a huge move on turn 2, which is really one of the strengths of this deck. It has some great combo potential. And even though I'm not going to be able to get the pump-up smashes, getting a Gold Breaker on turn 2 is going to be massive. And I also flip aheads on that Super Scoop Up. So I'm able to pick up the Terrakion and put it back down with no damage. I opt to go for the Juniper here. I guess I just wanted the extra card. I didn't want to give my opponent any help either. And I really needed to get the Eviolite to make sure that this Boufflant survives. So I wanted to see as many cards as possible. So I opted to go for the Juniper. It pays off. I get the DCE. Not the DCE. I get the Eviolite, which is going to make it very hard for him to take a KO in return. He would have had to... If I hadn't gotten the Eviolite, he only would have needed 1 more energy. Yeah, he was at 100. Yeah, so he only would have needed 1. Now I force him to have a second DCE in order to take the KO. I think he'd already discarded 1. I'm not sure about that, though, but he obviously doesn't have it. He retreats into Raikou and then goes for the Max Potion on Mewtwo, which is not a bad play at all. He's protecting his prizes. And, once he gets some Eels, it won't be that hard to build them back up. So he does go ahead and attach the Eviolite to Raikou now, which is okay, I guess. He also benched that Zekrom EX again, kind of prematurely. He doesn't need it yet. And obviously, again, I'm running a fighting deck, so if he doesn't protect it, things are not going to go nicely for him. He catches up Terrakion here, though, which is a good move. Obviously, he doesn't want to deal with a Boufflant. It 2-hit KOs all of his EXs. and that's bad news for him. So I hit another heads on Super Scoop up here. It's just one of those games where things are actually working. Kind of works as a pseudo switch, lets me get that Terrakion out of the active spot. And here I consider benching the regular Terrakion, but I opt to go for Terrakion EX. I actually have a lot of energy in my hand. I don't mind this hand right now, even though I don't have a supporter. I'll be okay for a turn or two. I at least have energy drops, which is really one of the biggest issues for this deck. And I have the basic energies here, so I'm okay to sit on the hand for a few turns, and hopefully I can draw into another supporter. But instead, I get end, which is kind of unfortunate, especially when I draw a hand like this, where I don't have any energy when I just had a really nice amount last turn. But it's not too bad of a hand. I can, Ultra Ball my hand size down, and that'll let Bianca be effective. I have a Super Rod. I don't know why I had a Super Rod in this deck. I know I've taken it out, but yeah, I don't know why that's in there. So that'll be easy Ultra Ball fodder, and then I can probably get rid of the other Ultra Ball as well, and not have to lose those catchers, which are going to be really important, especially since he's burning through his resources fairly quickly. He's used 2 max potions already, which is probably the most he would run. Maybe 3, but I'd be surprised to see another one. So, he's already used 2, and he hasn't done any damage to me yet, except for that initial Terrakion. So he's really going through a lot of resources just trying to stay afloat. And that's good for me because it means he doesn't have them later in the game. And, this deck kind of just steamrolls later in the game. Once you get a Terrakion going with Pump Up Smash and you're able to get some energy on the board, it just really becomes a nuisance to deal with. So I don't mind him stalling here in the beginning too much, because it's giving me a chance to establish my board as well. So I do draw into an energy here. It's DCE though. We'll have to see if I opt to drop it on Terrakion or not. Looks like I'm going to. I would have liked to see me go for the Ultra Ball and then maybe the Bianca first, but I guess it's not too big of an issue to play it first. And let's see who I decide to grab with this Ultra Ball. I might just take the chance to look at my deck and not get anything. No, okay, I'm going to go for another Boufflant. So yeah, I definitely would have preferred it had I... oh, looks like I missed that Bianca there. I accidentally cut that out, sorry. Definitely would have preferred it if I had Ultra Balled for the Boufflant first and then put the DCE on him. That would have been a better play. As it stands, it's not terrible. I can at least attack with this Terrakion now, and that's good. The Bianca doesn't get me a whole lot, except a bunch of catchers. All of the rest of my catchers, I believe I've already used one. So that kind of sucks. I would have liked to get some energy, but I do have that switch in case I need it. At this point, though, even if he catches up Terrakion, he's still going to hit for a lot of damage because I have enough energy to attack. So you'll notice the game clock there. He's almost 10 minutes behind me now. As I said, he played incredibly slowly. But Boufflant finally does go down after a couple of X-Balls, and I'm okay with that. He stalled. He made my opponent waste a lot of resources, and I have another one. So unfortunately, I don't get an energy here, which kind of sucks, but I do hit the Mewtwo for just enough damage to take it down. The 120 with Boufflant plus the 50 from Rock Tumble. It's just enough to take Mewtwo down and get me some prizes, none of which are energy. I have an N, so that's an option next turn if I have to use it, even though it's only going to get me 4 cards. I will probably want to play some of the cards in my hand first to make sure I don't draw into them again. But my opponent sends up Raikou. And taking out that Mewtwo is definitely a big deal because it forced him to promote something, and the only thing he had on the board with free retreat was Raikou, which means he can't Dynamotor to it, so it's going to force him to attach from his hand if he wants to Volt Bolt me. And turns out he doesn't have the energy. So my opponent plays really, really defensively this game. And I think that's what ended up being his main issue. He never really attacked. He spent so much time on the defensive trying to make sure I couldn't take prizes that he never actually attacked. He sent up empty guys to just stall, and eventually he's going to run out of opportunities to do that. So I am going to Ultra Ball here. I'm not going to grab anything. I'm just thinning my deck out because I don't want to draw into these cards. I want to hit an energy off of this end. I am going to have to end because I want to get an energy here. So I just take a moment to look at my deck. I've got plenty of energy left in there, so hopefully with 4 cards I'll be able to get one. I wouldn't have minded had I benched that other Terrakion there, but it's okay in the end. I do hit a single fighting energy, which is good enough for Pump Up Smash. Zekrom does not have an Eviolite, so he's going to go down, and I'm going to be down to 2 prizes, which is really nice. I get a Mewtwo and a Switch. Mewtwo might come in handy if he has one of his own, but we'll have to wait and see what he does. Again, he's forced to promote Raikou because it's his only free retreater, and again, that's going to make him attach from his hand if he wants to go for a Volt Bolt. Instead, he retreats to Zekrom again, and then what the heck? Alright, so he retreats to Zekrom. I thought it was so that he'd be able to Dynamotor to Raikou, but he doesn't. He Dynamotors to Zapdos, and then switches to Zapdos and goes for the random Spark, or whatever it's called, and hits my bench Terrakion for 50. I don't like that play at all. I mean, if you're going to do that, at least Volt Bolt me. But I guess he figured that Zapdos does have the fighting resistance, and he's got an Eviolite on it, so he's going to be able to seriously reduce the effectiveness of Pump Up Smash. Unfortunately for him, looks like I have a catcher. I can't actually kill anything this turn, though. Raikou has an Eviolite, I believe, unless I Tool Scrappered and missed it. Nope, he's still got it, as does Zekrom. So it looks like I'm going to go down to 1 prize here, which I guess it's okay. I can't really rely on getting the Tool Scrapper, and I still have a decent number of supporters in my deck. I believe I've only played 3 or 4, so I still have quite a few options to draw into them, and I just take out one of his major threats. You know, Zekrom's really good against EXs. I'm guaranteed to take a prize. You know, if I went for the Raikou, there's a possibility that he could get a max potion, and I would have wasted my turn. So I'm going to go for the sure prize and force him to have an N. Turns out he doesn't, and he just concedes. And if you look up there at the timestamp, I used 5 minutes, and he used about 18, I think, something like that. So yeah, but that's going to be the match. Pretty good look at how the deck works. I still didn't get that many pump-up smashes, but it was a pretty good overview of what the deck is capable of, and I hope you guys liked it. So give me a thumbs up if you did. Leave me a comment about the deck if you want to do that, and if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd really appreciate that. I just passed 800, so trying to get to 1,000. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, I'll have more coming your way shortly.